Hey gang, Joyce with Skipping Calves Farms here. One of my chores for today is to be spraying some phosphorus into the garden. Well, I started by spraying phosphorus on the other side of the driveway along my fruit trees. Let me show you. Okay, here we are on the other side of the driveway, and of course this time of year everything is, well, at least the peaches have all lost their leaves. These two peach trees, well, if you've seen the previous videos, you knew they weren't really doing well. If you look at the trunk real close, you can see there's quite a bit of fungus or mold or whatever, fungus I guess you would call it, growing on them. And this tree lost its leaves kind of prematurely, so I sprayed phosphorus over here first. Now, I wanted to spray about a 30-to-1. So, with a little handheld sprayer that I've used before and I'm using now, I'll show you in a minute, I mixed the phosphorus as a 10-to-1 and then set it up out of the sprayer to spray 8 ounces per quart, which would be 3-to-1, which would give me a total of 30-to-1. Well, that worked fine for about 2 minutes. And then my 8-ounce quit dispensing. So I switched to 6 ounces, and that worked really well. Got me through all 4 trees. Let's try and hold it here a little better, a little steadier. And you can still see a few of the mummified apples, especially on the wine sap. You can see them here, right there in the middle. So, I'm gonna put you back on hold and we'll go back over to the garden and I'll explain the rest of it. Okay, now I'm back by the main garden gate, and you can see the 2 apple trees kind of in the background there, and I keep the garden hose stowed here, and the other end, even if it's not hooked up, stays over there by the hookup over there. Anyway, so moved the hose over here, started spraying, and sprayed that whole line of cattle panels where the beans are going to go. And just as I got to the north end of these cattle panels, the 6-ounce sprayer quit. And I'll be honest with you, gang, I was like, really? I had cleaned that thing really carefully and left it in a good setup, so it shouldn't be doing that. But I also know with the hollow phos, the way they chelate it or emulsify it, they include oil. And so what I'm figuring is one of the reasons it's a little bit cooler now, that oil is going to be a little bit thicker. And so I just decided to try something. You know me and my little experiments. I get a burr under my saddle. I'll put it the clean way, right? I get a burr under my saddle, so what I did just here a few minutes ago, I took some apple cider vinegar and just put, I guess, about 4 ounces of apple cider vinegar into the sprayer. And then I mixed that water about 4-to-1. And so what I'm doing now is I'm just spraying the spot where I'm standing. Basically this spot between the sprayer and my toes. You can kind of see where it's a little darker right there. I'm just spraying that concentrated apple cider vinegar. And after 30 seconds or so, I'm going to the next larger step. The idea being, we'll try and flush it with the diluted stuff first, and then work our way around and see if we can't flush the inside of that nozzle with some pretty concentrated vinegar to cut through the oil that might be causing the hollow faucet to block my sprayer. So there's really not a whole lot to see when I'm doing it. Basically, I'm moving my hand around like this and shaking it and keeping it stirred up as I'm spraying. And then as I'm spraying, you can see there's printing on the side of the jar. So I'll just kind of keep my eye on what level it is until I go down and back a couple of times. And then I hold it for a second and see if the level's changed. If the level hasn't changed, guess what? I'm not drawing anything out of that container through that particular quantity nozzle. So I've got the apple cider vinegar in the sprayer. I've sprayed the first two small, I guess it was 2 teaspoons and 3 teaspoons per quart. And then, well, let's go down and take a look. This is just an inexpensive sprayer I got at Ace Hardware. I liked this one versus the other design because, as you can see, there's no trigger. And holding a trigger for hours can get kind of cumbersome. So it just has this little nozzle thing at the top where you can go wet, dry, or off. And so in looking at it, you start with off. I'm going to get this to focus. Off, and then 2 teaspoons, 3 teaspoons or 1 tablespoon, 4 tablespoons, 6 tablespoons, which is equal to 6 teaspoons, which is equal to 2 tablespoons or 1 ounce, 9 teaspoons or 3 tablespoons, 12 teaspoons or 4 tablespoons or 2 ounces, 18, 6, and 3, 24, 8, and 4, and then 30 teaspoons, 10 tablespoons, 5 ounces, and then 36, 12, and 6 ounces, and then the biggest one is 48, 16, and 8. So it was the 8 ounces I made my calculations based on. And then I ended up working with the 6 ounces for most of that time. It's not really rocket science because the amount that goes down depends upon the rate that you spray, not just the concentration that you spray. So with that, gang, we'll see. We've got a pretty good place to stand. This is just some grass that's in the walking path between my okra and my tater/peanut patch. We'll see if this grass survives the vinegar through the winter or not. And it might be kind of interesting to see. But, you know, I just want to try and keep my equipment running. Vinegar is apple cider vinegar is good for the soil as long as it's not too concentrated, so it's not going to change the pH. As it does get metabolized, it reacts and becomes an alkali ash, not an acidic ash. That's why apple cider vinegar is good for you and distilled vinegar is not. So anyway, with that, gang, I'm going to go ahead and shut my yapper and get back to work. Wish me luck, and I will wish you blessings for the day, and whatever you do, just keep chasing the dream.